Hello, I am so happy to have you back while we discuss our section on salutogenic approach, resilience, and we are at sense of coherence. Your sense of coherence, it refers to um, your overall, an individual's overall orientation towards life. And it's characterized by a belief, right, when we're in the sense of coherence, that life is comprehensible, manageable, and meaningful. And it's a really core concept in a salutogenic approach where we're using a a whole sense of the environment. What are we doing in to create a thriving environment? What assets do we have? Where are we really strong, and how can we transfer that to other areas? And so, what I love about the sense of coherence is we can really break these three individual threads here down into three very distinct questions that when we're dealing with an individual that we know we want to help, but we're not quite sure what is going on for them or where the hurdle is. Sense of coherence can give us like three concrete questions to ask to help us identify where we can be supportive. So the first question that we can ask, it's comprised of three things. So the first is, do you understand what's going on? Right. So I'm going to use in this example, let's say we have a family that is really struggling with attendance, right? And getting their students to school on time. Okay. So we're meeting with this family and we really want to help, right? But we're not sure what the issue is. And so we're going to use sort of the sense of coherence to break this down. Do you understand what's going on? And by that, in this example, I mean, are we aware that the kids are even late? Maybe they're being dropped off by another caregiver. Maybe they're switching between houses and one house is having a hard time getting them there and the other isn't, right? So are we do we know what's going on? What kind of data can we show that this is how many times we've had this absence, right? The next question is, do you understand what resources are available to manage it? So a lot of times we know what's going on, but we have no idea what outside of myself do I have to help me solve this problem, right? So, are we aware of different transportation options? Are we aware of where help can be provided from community organizations or before school care or things like that? What are the resources that we have available that we can offer you once the problem is understood? And then the third question that you can ask is, do you understand how this is impacting the overall life of this individual? Do you have the understanding of the impact and the meaning of this, right? So this is, let's say, they know how often students are running late, right? They understand the choices that they have available to them, or maybe the resources that are available for transportation, but maybe they're just missing, this is really impactful to the day. When your student is late, they're missing this part of the day, or they're coming in and it's distracting the classroom in this kind of way, or, right? And so when we're trying to problem solve with a student, with a family, with a peer or a coworker, this can give us an entry point for conversation, right? This can also give us, I like to think about this in terms of motivation, right? So if we're sitting with a student, let's take this to high school, right? Because I think a lot of my examples end up in elementary school, but let's take this to high school and say we have a student that is struggling to stay motivated to finish their last couple credits, right? And we really, really see the potential of them to get there. And so having a conversation with them of, kind of, do you know where you're at? Do you understand how close you are? Do you understand what the map looks like to get you to graduation and what's needed to get there? And then if the answer is yes, right? Okay, well, what kind of resources do we have for support? Where do we need support? Where's your motivator? Where's your hurdles? What support do you need? So you can have a real deep conversation about that. And if that's not the issue, then do you understand how impactful this is? So I love this as a way to frame a conversation. It's a structure and a framework for a conversation that can help us get to solutions, right? And it can help us identify what we're doing really good at. Okay, so you're really good at identifying resources, let's say, and you're really good at understanding what you need to be able to study. How can we take that and move it into another area where you're struggling so that we can create a thriving environment? So try implementing a sense of coherence and those three steps. I'm just going to say them one more time. Um, do you understand what's going on? Do you understand the resources you have available to manage this? And do you understand the impact and meaning that this has in your overall life, in what you are trying to do and what your goals are?